he was on a mission last night, right? That was fantastic. Okay, and I still we was talking this morning about Keith Carter in the he's in a closet giving a clinic. I thought that was fantastic. It's true mushroom guys, Adam, Paul Alexander always does a great job, right, over the years. Fantastic, really great speakers that we had. Jeff Quinn been coming for the clinic for years. It was really, really good. Alex Narball, I mean, everybody that spoke, okay, really did a wonderful job. And so now this morning, okay, we got a young man, Marty Costello. Okay, now Marty's been coming to the clinic. I think his first one he told me was in 2002. Okay, and he's been coming to the clinic since 2000, like 19 years, whatever, how many years he's been coming. All right, and Marty, he's been in a lot of different small Division II, Division III schools. He's driven from Missouri. He's driven over from Nebraska. He's driven down from Wisconsin and Montana, okay, to come to the clinic, all right? And he worked his way up, and the poor guy, unfortunately, ended up being my assistant for me, the poor kid, right? But anyway, that's another story. And he worked his way up and got the offensive line seat, okay, at Winnipeg, and they won the Grey Cup, okay? And they led the CFL 3 years in a row in rushing, and that's not easy to do when you only have 3 down offense, okay? That's not easy to do, okay? That's quite a challenge, okay? And they won the Grey Cup in 2019. Obviously, 2020 there wasn't a season, okay? Now we're going to get ready to get back up, but you are going to love this presentation. And I was talking to Marty this morning, and I said, hey, these guys, the last 2 nights, they set the bar high. This is a high bar today, okay? So, Marty Costello, where are you, pal? Get up on the screen so I can see you. You're up, buddy. It's your show.
All right, I appreciate that intro. Only half that stuff was lies, Wiles, but I do appreciate you having me and Coach Grabowski and Lauren for setting me up this morning and doing this stuff. So it's an honor and a privilege, very humbling to be here. Tad bit nervous this morning, so hopefully I can get into this thing and get settled down. But I'm excited to be here. Paul Charbonneau, thanks for the help with the clinic and obviously helping me get to the CFL. And I hope next year we're all back in Cincy together. I miss being in there with the crew of guys. Mike Anderson's harem, right? We're all second row guys. We've been sneaking in for years trying to get those second rows right behind Wiley. So, all right, that's enough of that. Let's get down to business here. All right, I'm going to talk about some tackles and some pass pro stuff. I think it'll be interesting for you. Some of the stuff will be the same as Joe Gilbert. Some of it will be a little different. Some of it will be the same as Bobby Johnson. Some of it will be a little different. You got to be able to find your own spin. But one of the first things I always talk about when I talk is I truly believe the offensive line are this true skill players of an offense, right? It's a learned ability. It's a learned skill blocking, right? And I truly believe that those are the real skill players, right? You don't go to a city park or a local high school gym and see a 4-year-old kick sliding, going backwards, punching his hands forward, right? You see little kids 4 years old running and walking and jumping and throwing. And Coach Alexander talked about the reflexes and motor development last night. Well, that stuff comes naturally, but pass protection to me is the most unnatural skill in any sport. So if you can ask my wife anything and she'll tell you the offensive linemen are the real skill players of an offense. Okay. Pass pro to me is the most unnatural skill. It takes the most amount of time to develop. So one of the things that we've tried to do is we try to find a way to create control. Coaches, we're big cliche people. Everybody says control what you can control, right? Attitude, effort, all those things. Well, we try to control pass pro in our mind as much as we can. Right. And I've heard this analogy before. I liken it to a baseball pitcher. Nolan Ryan, some of those guys, great baseball pitchers, could throw a fastball like no other. Well, eventually hitters start to catch up to them or they get onto that stuff. So you have to have a second pitch. You have to have a third pitch. You have to keep them off balance in pass protection. I'm going to talk about some of that stuff as we go. All right. Coaching the O-line to me, it's not drill work or making them look the same. Maybe where I started at the cool clinic. I'd go to the clinic and I'd come home and we got to do this drill and guys all got to look the same. Well, as I've grown and developed, it's not quite right because everybody's built different, and especially in the CFL. We got players from Northern Canada, we got players from the Southern United States, we got global players now, right? And they're built differently. So our 6'1" guard can't do the same things that our 6'6" tackle can do. So you have to learn to coach those guys a little differently. To fix their weaknesses and also accentuate their strengths. That's a big thing for me. Is find what they do well and then continue to make it better. I also believe guys handle coaching different, right? You need to get to learn and get to know your players. Some guys, you can yell at them and they'll play. Some guys, if you yell at them, they tuck their tail and won't be able to play the next couple plays. So you got to understand your players. You got to be a little bit of a psychologist and understand what makes them tick. And then one of the things that we do is we try to create positive mental and physical habits, right? Try to create physical habits, drills, meetings, all those things. We also try to create positive mental habits. You listen to Wiley talk, and he always talks about flush it, move on, all those things. But we try to talk about what the mindset is before the play. Then the play happens. Then we learn from it, flush it, move on, right? One of the things I do on game day on the sideline is obviously you make adjustments. You do what you have to do as far as scheme wise, but I'm like their biggest cheerleader on game day, right? I'm trying to keep them in the right mindset or get them in the mindset that we need to try to win football games. All right. Number 3, I think you always got to try to add and build on the toolbox. You got to have base skills, but then you got to have change ups. You got to have other skills that they can go to when something's not working, right? So you have a 10-play drive and they get beat on the second play of the drive, they got to adjust on their own and be able to transition and go to something else in the middle of that drive, right? To me, real confidence comes from them being prepared and them being educated and them having a toolbox to pull from, all right? Number 4, it's a big thing for me right now, right? What do you want them to do and how are you going to get it done, right? It doesn't have to look the same as everybody else. You don't have to do exactly what Jim McNally, Bob Wiley, all those legend offensive line play. It doesn't have to look exactly like those guys do it. As long as you know it, understand it, can fix it, you have the answers. What do you want them to do, and how do you want them to get it done? Right? I'm really big into that right now. Going into the game, we have both a technique and a scheme game plan. This is what I want the blocks to look like this week, or this is how we got to approach this. All right. Number 5, I really believe that you win the block on the first 2 or 3 steps. In the pass pro, I believe you win the block on your pass set. Everything else to me is effort and finish, right? I got a clip for you. We're playing in the Grey Cup in 2019, and we're out there doing the same drills that I had our rookies doing on day 1 of rookie camp in 2019, right? So we practice those fundamentals all year round, and I do believe you win with those things, right? And then most of this stuff, guys, as Wiles said, I was a small college coach, Division II, Division III, NAIA. Shoot, back in 2003, I worked at a school in Blair, Nebraska, Dana College. There was 100 football players. There was 600 students. 10 years later, the school isn't even in operation anymore. So I've been at some small places, all right? But many of these same drills, principles apply. I teach a lot of the same things. And I would tell you that most of those ideas have been taken from other coaches and taken from the cool clinic. So I'm a pretty good thief is really what I am, okay? Before we get into the clips, last thing I want to talk about is just what we do during the course of the week, okay? So in order to get ready for game day, what I do is I have 3 screens going when I'm watching tape. And I'm watching tape on one screen, okay? I have my data on another screen, and then on my third screen, I'm typing notes for the offensive coordinator. Protection notes, run game notes, all those other things. And then in front of me, I'm handwriting a sheet for the offensive line about the defense, right? So I take notes on the defensive linemen. In the CFL, I'm the one-man gang as far as offensive line coaches. I don't have assistants. I don't have GAs. I don't have anybody helping me with that stuff. So I got to do it myself. So what I do is I list the jersey numbers of the front 7 players. I put their main, and the subs, I put their main moves up there. So example, I put 97. He likes to spin to his right, or he's a left arm club guy. He likes to right arm rip, etc. Okay. And so then during the week with the players, the tackles, we create a game plan for one-on-one against those DNs and with the guards with the D tackles. Okay. During practice days, then we're working on ways to execute that plan. We may be sliding to this player this week, or hey, when you're one-on-one with 99, here's what I want you to do, or here's what he likes to do, so here's what we're going to do. So I think you have to do that. All right. And then we have DB Sport. One of the things I love is the quick cut system. Right. So what it is you have 10 total lockers, and it just corresponds with your keyboard 0 through 9. And so as I'm watching a clip, I can hit all 9, 10 buttons if I want, and it'll automatically auto populate a cut up or a locker, right? And so the three that I use for the offensive tackles, number one is I have one that says show the offensive tackles. Well, it just makes a cut up things that I want to make sure I cover with the tackles. Number two is all the moves of the D line. So if I see a really good move on the D line, man, it goes into a folder, it goes into a locker, and then those guys are watching that. And then one of the third things is the defensive scheme to study. So when we're doing blitz period, when we're doing our walkthroughs, or if there's things that we need to cover, we're doing that right there. So that's one of the things I do to try to prepare them during the week. Now, this next slide, I know this is hard to see. It's my own handwriting, which is bad in general. I failed in elementary apparently, but here's just my point is I put the team up here. Here's a DN, all right. Here's a DN. Here's their name, and then I list all those moves for the O line for them to see. Okay, number 97, his hands are quick. Okay, so we got to be careful when we go to punch 97 because he's really good at swatting hands. All right, number 41, when he's in this cue off position, here's what he likes to do. And so I just give those guys my notes and my feedback before we get going. All right, let's get into this a little bit. So this is the first thing. This is the first play of a game. This seems like a long time ago because it was 2019. But what I want to talk to is we try to send a message. We try to be in charge. We try to have the mindset that we're in control. That's not always the case, but we want to try to believe that. So what you're going to see here is we're in a 5-step protection, and I think you guys hopefully can see all this. All the things that I'm looking at in this clinic right up here is in this top little area for you. You know what I'm saying and what I'm looking at. But the left tackle is going to take a spot set. He's actually going to throw an independent hand, outside hand at the far breastplate. Our right tackle, he knows the slide's coming at him, but we wanted to send a message this week. Both these guys in the first play of the game are throwing hands, making sure that the D linemen know that we're going to be aggressive, we're going to come and attack, and we're going to try to keep them off balance. And so I think this is a great clip to start. You can see the right tackle. He's on a flat set. He's out there, two-hand shiver, right, just above the numbers. He knows the guards got him. There's a great view of the left tackle in a one-hand stab, independent hands to the outside breastplate, outside view of the neck, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's a pretty good pocket on the first play of the game. And we're sending a message, and we're making sure that the tackles know that we're in charge going into this game. And I really believe in that. All right. So here's how it all starts for me. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this before, stolen from Paul Alexander, but this is the first day of rookie camp. These guys, came up from the States, and we're trying to see if they can play all those things they're trying out. And we're just working spot sets. I'm going to just let it play as I talk here. What I do is we do 9 reps. We do 3 to the outside, and then we'll do 3 head up sets, and then we'll 3 to the inside power sets. And we're just working sets. We're working for balance, right? I'm watching Joe Gilbert, I thought, did a great job the other day of watching this front leg, right? When they make their kick, is that front leg straight? Are they on their heel? So that's one of the things I'm talking to this young man about. I don't like his base right here. I think it's too wide. I don't like the bend in his legs because there isn't any. So those are things that I'm watching. We're just starting to intro the spot set. Obviously, we're using that stick. I used to be more of a big tilt guy. I'm not as much of a tilt guy anymore. I'm a pretty balanced 50-50, carry the weight, center of gravity, all those things. It's easy to see with the stick. All right. The other thing that I've liked to do now, and I don't have it on tape, I apologize, but when they get to their spot, I like to have this defender walk up and push on the edge of the stick and see if we can get them to open their shoulders or if they're keeping their core tight at the spot. Right. So that's one of the things we like to do as well is once they get to that spot, we like to make sure they're in a powerful position. Okay. I'm really big on posture and just moving and playing with power. And so, here you get a head up shade. So we're just working just a little inside power, working slightly inside out. And then they come down. We do 3 of those, and then we come down to the inside set. So now they're power, and it's over exaggerated. I don't know if a tackle's ever had to kick that far for us, but nice and flat down the line, keeping his posture, trying to get to an inside out alignment. Okay. Here's the next thing then is now we do a counter movement. So we set to the outside, and then we transition back. It's a kick to power, it's a wave drill, whatever you want to call it. So we're working our spot. We get to our spot, the defense makes an inside move, and we're countering back inside. So this one, we do 6 of them. We do 3 to the outside. Bang. All right. And then we come back and we do 3 to the inside power set, back to the kick. We're really working on staying square, transitioning from one to the other, playing with balance, bent knees again. We will incorporate into this. I thought Bobby Johnson did a great job talking about it, and it got Wiles all fired up the other night. Is we also do incorporate, if you get too far stretched, replace footwork. So you've made this power and your legs are stretched out. We also will work the replace back to the kick. And I got one of those or 2 of those on tape for you. So we don't step underneath ourselves. One of the faults that you see all the time, whether it's a guard or tackle, he powers in here. All right. They may power in here, and then the defensive guy moves. Well, they get fully stretched. So what happens is, instead of kicking back at their angle, the next thing that happens is they just swivel and open their hips, and it's like a turnstile. So we do work replace footwork with this as well. All right. This clip is just 1 rep. Here's our 2 starting tackles over here. All right. You'll see them a lot on tape. 66 Stanley, 51 Yost. Great players. Great people to work with as well. But this is at the Grey Cup. We're getting ready to play the Grey Cup in a couple days, and we're going back to the basics, working a set with the stick, working a spot drill with the stick, getting ready to play the biggest game of a lot of their lives. Okay. Now, this is the next phase and the next progression for us. All right. It's kind of hard to see, but you got a guy back here, and what he's doing is he's holding these rubber bands. They're like therapy bands that you'd find in your training room. I used to use ropes. I used retractable dog leashes before. Thanks, Coach Kotelnicki, Kansas. I stole that from him. But all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give them an idea of where their spot is. It's real easy to say, hey, set your spot. Well, a lot of people don't understand what the spot is or where the spot really is. So we try to give them something that they can feel where the spot is. So we hold these bands really tight. So when Stanley and Yost make their sets, they're going to eventually feel this band, and they know right there, bang, I am on my spot. And so I think that's a big thing. I used to use this all the time with Division II and NAIA guys, trying to help them out. The next thing we'll do is, when we do this drill, I'm looking for movement efficiency, right? Separating with the sticks, obviously separating their lower body from the upper body. We're working. Hey, look at Stanley right here, right? I'm watching this first kick. Is he gaining ground in that first kick? Is he being efficient with his movement? Right. I'm not an overly spread out stagger guy. Stanley's maybe a little bit more to toe to heel. But as long as they can step without stepping underneath themselves, false stepping forward, I'm good with it. Right. And so that's what we're looking on here. We also mix it up. So that's just an angle set. He will take a flat set, because if the slide's coming to him, okay, this one for us is a 700 set. So we may go back first and then out. Or if you have a trolley by your tackle, so he's going to go back first, and maybe eventually he's got to come in and close the door, or he goes back first and then he transitions out. There's a lot of different ways to get to your spot. And so for us, this is a 700 or a trolley set. He's setting back, bang, and then he jumps back to the outside and he gets on his outside spot. All right, you see the same thing over there with 51 on the other side of the screen. He's going back first, bang, and then he's setting his angle to run those rushers by on our 700 drops when our quarterback's foot is hitting 9 yards. Okay. We also will do this with the wide 3. We're an angle set team overall. For the most part, we're an angle set team. If we do get wide 3 techniques, we're playing a team that runs a lot of TE games. We will set a little bit more vertical, dragging our inside hand. And then if the twist doesn't come, then they get back on their set angle. And that's what you're seeing here. You see Stanley, he'd be a left tackle. He's setting vertical, dragging his inside hand, looking for the twist game, bang, and then he snaps his eyes back out. He gets on his angle set, and there's an independent hand finish right there, left and right. Okay, so that's what you're seeing there. Here's a counter movement with the sticks and the bands, and I don't like what this guy's doing. I like this player. I think Wiley actually stole him from me. He's going to play in Ottawa this year, maybe. All right, so he's setting his angle, and then he's powering back at the same angle. Again, maybe a long time ago, I used to teach that. I don't necessarily believe it anymore. I want him to kick at the angle and power in flat. Otherwise, you get too far behind the defender, you lose your leverage, and that's maybe what I'm telling him right there. Okay, and then the last thing of it is now you're going with an inside power back to your kick angle. Again, we will try this with replace footwork as well. All right, we'll do that. Okay, we'll get to this two-board kick down the road. That's another drill coming up. All right, with my drills, here's the priorities, drills, meetings, film. Here's my priorities, and these are really in the order that I'm teaching things. I believe in training the eyes, the angles, the feet, the posture, then the hands, and finish, right? But I'm a feet and a posture guy before I do anything else, all right? So let's take a look. This is what I call, this is the kick power drill, ground view practice stuff. It's a wave drill, if you will. Watch 51. We're watching the right tackle. Again, if you look up here in all these clips, it'll tell you who we're watching. So here's a right tackle. There's an angle set. The guy tries to cross his face, and he goes from the kick back to the power, right? And we do drop our inside hip. We do change our stagger. I like what 51 is doing right there, changing his stagger. Hey, he ends up working back for it. I don't care. I don't mind if they drop their hip, if they drop their foot, as long as they keep their hip square. Okay, I don't mind if they drop their inside foot on the power move as long as they keep their hip square. So I think that's a great job. It's a nice angle view for you. Angle set, boom, the defender moves. To me, that's just the counter movement drill we started with the sticks and the sticks with the bands. All right, so that's what you have going on there. Okay, here's our tackles making some spot sets. Different game footage now. 2019, maybe later in the season. Hey, both tackles are making spot sets. You can see the left tackle's dragging his inside hand. It's going to be a twist game right there. Plenty of time, working himself out to 95. Okay, the right tackle's good spot set. Yeah, you know, we're working with the right tackle. As you watch these tapes, you're going to see some good, some bad. The right tackle tends to drop his outside foot a little bit too much for me right there before contact. He's got a habit of doing that, so we're working on fixing that with him. And not dropping his outside foot, opening the gate for the defensive guys. But we're just making general spot sets right here. All right. And on this cut up on this clinic tape, I put all the drops up here for our quarterbacks so you guys can see. I'm not showing you just all quick game. I think I only got one quick game cut up, one quick game play in this entire cut up. Everything else is 5 and 7 step drops. All right. If you know the CFL, we tend to throw the ball around a little bit up there. Okay, so that's what you're seeing there. Okay, here's again spot sets. The right tackle is going to change the set. This is what I was mentioning earlier. We try to be in control. We try to keep the defensive guys off balance with our sets. We made the mistake. I made the mistake in 2017. The tackles were only spot setting. We were only doing that. You know what? Eventually it cost us a sack in a big time moment of a game, and it was my fault. And so now we try to get it to where the defensive guys don't know what we're doing all the time. Sure, there's times we have to vertical set or we vertical set and drag our hand because of the three, but otherwise I'm trying to get those guys to mix up their sets as much as possible, right? Sure, they have to get one. They get really good at one, and then everything else is a build from there. So I think the right tackle here is doing a great job of changing the set. He shows him pass, he pass sets, and then he steps and jabs. I don't know, Wiley's maybe it's kind of similar to McNally's up kick a little bit, where he's actually stepping at him and he's stabbing him with his outside independent hand, and then watch his inside hand. We'll get to independent hands, but watch his inside hand. He just takes his inside hand and clears the defender's hand off his chest. But look where the defender starts. Inside the hash, we set, we go stab him, and on a pass rush, the defender ends up 2 yards outside the hash. That's pretty far from the quarterback, in my opinion. Now, as I said, some things are good, some things are bad. The left tackle's probably going to be pissed at me for showing this clip because he gets an inside move, his foot get caught, his foot gets caught, he doesn't get it in the ground, and look what happens. All right. So listen, we all have plays, we all have things that aren't very good. We got to just learn from them, laugh at ourselves a little bit, and move on. Right. I don't care if you're a high school player, college player, professional player. Bad plays are going to happen. Heck, in professional football, the defensive guys get paid too. So it's going to happen. How do you react from that mistake? How do you move on? How do you play the next play? How do you flush it, so to speak? Right. So that's what I wanted to show you, though, with the right tackle. Okay, let's look. Here's the right tackle again. Here's the right tackle again. He's going to set, and he's going to jump out on that guy, and look at him widening the DN on a pass rush. Look how far away the right tackle has the DN, who's a really good pass rusher, away from the quarterback when the quarterback gets ready to throw the football. That, to me, is pretty good. That, to me, is pretty good. Okay? We also do a pretty good job on the twist on the other side, but so be it. And then I always like to point this out. When you're watching these tapes, I love to see our guys around the football. All right. If anybody asks me what I'm looking for as far as the offensive line and the offensive line guys in our room, number one, fellas, I want tough, physical guys who play with effort. That's what I want. Obviously, professional football, there's got to be some sort of height, weight, skill, ability. Sure, I get that. But I want tough, physical guys who play with effort. And a lot of these things you're going to see our guys around the football. Our guys are around the football, right? And I appreciate that. I enjoy it. I make a big deal out of it. Okay, let's look at the right tackle on this one. We're doing the replace footwork. All right, so this was Bobby Johnson's set, reset. We're going kick, replace, into the power. Right tackle, kick, bring it back, replace, and then he goes into the power to pick up the twist. All right, so I do believe in that. That's a big kick by the right tackle. If the right tackle took that one kick and his next step, he tried to move this inside foot, he would step underneath himself. You just can't step any further. You just can't step any wider. And so when he gets that stretched out and he's getting some sort of crossface move, he brings that foot back, he gets back into his original base, and then he makes his power move to the inside. So there's replace footwork. Okay, there's replace footwork. Good. And then here's our left tackle changing the set again. Watch. He sets, and then he's going to step and stab with an outside hand to the far breastplate. He's a little high. He's on the far shoulder. But again, look what it does to this rusher. So we're trying to create the mindset and the mentality that we are in control. Now, the left guard and the center don't do great. We got too much color showing here. This guy's running vertical. Man, I need to work on that for the next time I speak at the clinic. But, there's always going to be some good. There's always going to be some bad. It usually is never perfect. Coaches, we try to make it perfect, but you know what? It usually isn't. It usually isn't. Okay, here we go. Here's the left tackle changing a set. This is Stanley again at practice. Watch. He's going set. That defensive guy right now, that defensive guy is just getting ready to make his pass rush move, and the left tackle stabs him with his outside hand, and then he brings his inside hand on the rip, bang, right to the back, and we run it by. I think he probably can keep his hip a little bit more square. He drops that outside foot or that left foot a little bit too much for me. He makes that corner a little short, so that's something to work on. But that's a great job of him changing the set and going independent hands and giving him a different look. Okay, here's the right tackle doing it. Now, here's a mistake. When you do this, I believe you have to protect yourself with your inside hand, right? Coach Alexander talks about high hand, low hand. Well, this is similar. The right tackle, maybe he's lunging a little bit. Okay, yep, you could say that. But as he goes to stab him with his outside hand, he needs to keep this inside hand low so when 94 spins or takes the inside move, he can then catch him. And then different than what I showed you before with this guy, here he drops his foot, but his hips opens, right? So earlier he did the kick power, right? Whatever you want to call it, wave drill back to the inside. He kept his hip closed and he dropped his foot. Well, here's an example. If you drop your hip and you open your hip, now we're in trouble. So there's some things out of here that you can see, but I like him trying to change the set. I love him trying to stab. I love him being aggressive. And this is a good pass rusher, right? This is a good pass rusher in our league. Okay, his dad was a really good NFL player too, so he's got some pedigree. So it's not just we're going against fish here. Okay, so stab, and then if you had your inside hand to collect, you'd be in a much better position. That would also help you keep your inside leg or your inside hip closed. so you don't open up. Okay. But I truly believe you got to try all these things in practice. We're in one-on-one pass rush drill. I tell them you cannot make the same set 2 times in a row. Switch up your sets in practice. If you never do it in practice, you won't do it in a game. And we got to get it on tape. We got to watch it. Okay, this is a different left tackle. He was our 3rd tackle last year, our swing tackle. Ended up never playing in a game for us, but has some really good practice tape. Watch him. He goes to set. Watch this quick movement right there, and it gets the rusher off balance. Okay, we grab him, and then watch what he does with his inside hand. Grab, replace, get to a powerful arch position with the elbow down and the knees bent. Look at that finish right there. It's just his inside hand. His left hand's not even on the block. Left hand's not even on the block. But we changed up the set, and we caught the rusher off balance. He was just starting to set his move up, and we threw him off his game. I thought that's a great rep right there. Really good with his inside hand. Okay. I think Coach Gilbert talked a little bit about this setting at an angle and then going vertical after that. That's what you see the right tackle do here. He jumps out at an angle, maybe hops a little bit for me. Okay, I don't like it, but he's now changing the set again. Flat set. Okay, now we're going back, and then we work a shoulder punch, stack hands punch, which we'll get to as we go on. But that's just a different look and a different set for us right there. Okay. Here's a left tackle in a game, and this isn't just any game. This is a big day in our lives. All right, and here we're doing it. The left tackle is going to go set and then jump against a pass rusher who's pretty good. Set and jump. Okay, fight your fight right there. Again, this is a 5-step drop. It's not quick game, anything like that. And then here's our right tackle dropping his post foot again, but keeping his hip square and running 94 down into the guard. Okay, so changing the post, changing the stagger, dropping the post, whatever you want to call it, kick the power drill, all right, almost with replaced footwork, really. And then he flattens that guy out. He's able to keep his hip square. And then this is the one I have for you on quick game. We do cut sometimes. Sometimes we stay up. My preference is in quick game, this is how we would do it. If I had a preference that they did it, this would be it. We set, we get those guys to start rushing, bang, and then we cut them down. Set, get them to start rushing, and then cut them down through the thigh board. All right, let's go to bull rush, okay? All right, Coach Wiles, there's Coach Wiles right there back in 2016 teaching me what the heck I was doing. All right, put this in there for him. I also put it in there for me, guys. I took over for Coach Wiley after 1 year as his assistant. And what I realized is I couldn't be him. All right. I couldn't say and do the things that Coach Wiley has done. And that may seem a little bit sacrilegious because he's one of the best O-line coaches ever, but you got to find your own way. You got to be true to yourself and be your own person. Right. Coach Wiley's always said players don't know how much, or don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right. So that stuff is true, but they also want you to be real and they want you to be honest with them and true to your personality. So we were doing these drills with Wiley. We still do this drill. This is one of the drills we still do, just a bull rush drill. We're working on the hop. I don't do all the same drills that Coach Wiley did, right? And so I'm just giving you guys some advice here. You got to find your own way. You got to be true to yourself, and you got to find what drills work for you and what your personality is, and be honest with the players, okay? So that's my little tidbit there. Moving on. Now we're doing a drill with the stick. I don't know, this is a couple years ago. So we're doing a little wave drill, whatever you want to call it. We're working the hop of the bull rush. So sticks, again, behind their back, taking the hands out of it, working the lower body. So I just give them a feet call. They start moving their feet. And then I say bull, and they're just working the hop, right? They're just working the hop, and they settle back there. They're all doing pretty good here. Okay, we do a lot of bull rush drills, and when we get to the tape, I'll show you why. Okay, so here's that wave drill. Here's kick and power. So I'm just giving them a feet call. Now, this guy had a shoulder injury towards the end of the season, so he's not using the stick. But this is our right tackle. This is our left tackle. You can see they're in there staggered their demeanor. Make sure you give them a lot of room. I give them a feet call. I say kick. They kick at their angle. I say power. They power flat, kick. And then we finish with a bull at the end. So I just say kick, power, kick, bull. And then they just finish with the bull at the end, getting used to hopping, settling their hips and getting their feet away from the defender so they can get to that arch position. Okay. Here's a bull rush we do with the partner. Again, I just want them to feel what the bull rush is like. Right? I want them to feel what the bull rush is like. So again, I give them a feet call, and then I say kick. And when they kick, then the defensive guy walks into them and pushes on their chest and just makes them feel the bull rush. Okay. We've also done this, guys, with a good power demeanor. We take the stick and put it out in front of us, and the defensive guys push on the stick. So now we can feel the bull rush with our hands and our elbows, so we know when to hop. So we've done that. We've also done a push-pull drill with the stick in front of us where they push us, we hop, they pull us, we accelerate our feet and run into it. So we do that as well. But this is just an example of, having the stick behind your back, pushing, getting used to feeling it. Now we take the sticks away. Okay, we do the feet, we do the bull, so they hop back, and now they're just replacing their hands. Again, when you watch this, you can see some good, some bad. Look at 66, he's just lifting his hands. 51, nice tight circle, All right, now 59, who in this drill is playing center, but he's played some games at tackle for us. He's played some games at guard. His circle is a little bit too big right there, right? You want to just nice tight circle, nice tight underneath hands, replace. Okay, so we're working the hop versus air. We're working the replace. Now we progress to working against the bags. This is this year training camp. So I go feet. They get into their pass set. I go kick. They move. Bang! Here comes a defensive guy who's giving them like a speed to power rush. So 61 would be like a DN. I say speed, but there's not a lot of speed in this drill. I get it. 61 is up the field, but he's just mimicking a speed to power rush. And we lift our hands against a bull rush. Coach O'Boyle, if you're listening, this is the old thumb lift, right? This is the old thumb lift, okay? Bang. We want to two-hand lift them, deflect their force. Now, the next phase of the drill is we actually work the same drill, but we work a snatch down, all right? So I like it when our guys feel the defensive guy leaning on them. We trap them. We also snatch them, right? So if a defensive guy can't hold himself up, we do not allow him to let us hold him up. So if he would fall, if we weren't there, we dump guys and we put them on the ground. So what you're going to see here is the same bull rush with the thumb lift we just did, and then the defensive guy will let go of the bag, and we'll just take and snatch it down and dump a defender. So if he's two-hand bull rushing us with low hands and he's leaning, we're going to dump him and put him on his face. All right, you got to settle your hips back a little bit, get your hips away, but that's what we're doing right here. All right, and then I think this is the last one, then we'll get into some clips of bull rush. I've really gotten to the point of doing this both in the run and the pass game. Plus the players laugh at me when I say this. So I say bad body bull rush, and I point to myself, or they all point to me because I got a bad body, kind of like Coach Hand. Quarantine wasn't easy on me, but I put them in a bad body position. So the guys with their numbers to you, they're on offense right now. So that's the left tackle. I think these two guys are probably doing the drill the best. They're the centers, but they're standing straight up and down, and they should be in pass pro. Okay, and their hands are in bad positions. So what we try to do is we try to figure out how to get out of bad positions back into good positions. We do it again, both run and pass. I do it with a double team drill where they have to chip off to a linebacker, but they're in a bad position and they have to recover before they get to the backer. But here's our next phase of the bull rush is we start in a bad position. Okay, we start in a bad position, and then they have to figure out how to get back to a good position. So in this drill, they're actually working a trap. So as they settle their feet back, we're actually clearing the hands because the defenders got low hands on us, right? So we settle our hips back. Watch 66 over here. Okay, he's going to start to hop or settle his feet back, and then he's going to trap the hands down, trying to get out of a bad position and get back into a position of power and in a good posture position. I don't really like it when defensive guys put their hands on our chest. We teach protect your chest, all those things. But I also teach our guys not to panic if they do put their hand on your chest. Just figure out a way to either replace it or lift it or clear it, right? So I don't want them to panic when the hands get on the chest. Obviously, we'd prefer in a perfect world it not to happen. But again, I said this before, things aren't usually perfect. So figure out how to get a not perfect rep. to be successful. All right. This is ideally what I want it to look like. Okay. I really want them to bull rush us. I really want defensive linemen to bull rush us. And so both tackles here, we got a 5-man protection, a 6-man protection, but we're all singled up across the board. We're all man up across the board. The back's got number 7, so we're all just man protecting here. I want them to bull rush us. So we set our spot and we do the 2-hand lift, deflecting the force, and then we hop and settle and take on the defender. Okay. Our inside guys, man, we're going to set nose to nose, screws to screws. Our outside, our tackles, sure, you could say slightly inside out, but you know what? I want them to bull rush us. We're going to protect our inside, but I want them to be aggressive with their sets. I used to work a whole bunch of summer camps, and O-line coaches always had to be D-line coaches as well. The great D-line coaches would always tell their defensive players, you should rush half a man. You should never rush into the whole body of an offensive lineman. Well, to me, as an offensive lineman, we should make them rush our entire body. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what I want it to look like. All right, here's another clip, different game, 2019 again. But we're going to set our spots. Yeah, maybe the left tackle's turned a little bit. Maybe the right tackle drops his outside leg. Yeah, you could nitpick all you want. But watch the left tackle take on this speed to power bull rush. Because we angle set, there's a little bit of verticalness because 40's coming, so he doesn't know if he's getting a twist game. If you watch the left tackle, he's eyeballing 40. But there's the 2-hand lift. The guy gets 96, gets his hand on our chest. We 2-hand lift and hop, and we anchor, and the ball's gone. And 61 and 66 and 51 are pretty far away from the quarterback. Now, the left guard and the back are in the quarterback's lap. Not good. All right, different topic, another day. Okay, but that's what we want. We want them to bull rush us. Watch 51. Lift his hands, keeps his head out of there, and the block's over. We grab him. I like what 51's doing here, right? I like what 51's doing. Look, he's grabbing the shoulders. He's making sure that guy can't jump, and he's staying down, and we're in control. We're in control. Okay? Here's an example of that bull rush drill we did with the bags where they snatch. The left tackle is going to get a snatch. The right tackle's got some great recoverability here. And trust me, I didn't teach him that other than this to me is the bad body drill for the tackle. He's about to go down. He's in a bad position. Watch. See him reset his feet back. He gets away. He hops and he gets back to a position of power. So, sure, we did work on the bad body bull rush, but this is just a pretty good athletic play by 51. Okay, but watch 66 here at the end. 7 is just leaning on him, and we just snatch him down and dump him on his face. And both officials are standing right back there, and they don't call it. That's not a hold to me. I do prefer his hands to be underneath when he does it, so they don't see your hand outside. But that's just the bull rush with a snatch finish by the left tackle. Really good. Okay. All right. Independent hand work. Here we go. This is how it starts for us. A couple years ago, we got into a game and we had some hands in the face penalties. So we had to figure out how to get from an unperfect position back to a power position and finish. So we're starting the drill with the hand in a bad position. Okay, their hands on the face mask, and all we do is just bang. We just replace it. Just replace it real quick. Okay, non-violent, just to replace. Okay, so here's how we've progressed to it now. Is we start with the hand in a bad position. Again, if their back is to you, they're on offense. So here's our left tackle. He's on offense. We put them in a bad position. I say feet. They start moving. The defensive guy moves, bang, and then we replace underneath. So there's the replace drill. We do 2 or 3 of those. Now we do the outside hand punch. I'm kind of rolling through this pretty fast because I got a lot of clips on tape that I'd rather watch. But here's 69. Again, this is a rookie in training camp for us. Left tackle. We go feet. He starts a kick angle, bang. And then there's the outside stab to the outside breastplate, outside hand punch. Nice low inside hand. I do not like him up on his heel, though. I do not like him up on his heel. Okay? So the next phase of the outside hand is the pommel. The next phase of the outside hand is what we call the pommel. So watch 66. Again, he's the left tackle over here. So we're going to go throw the outside hand. And this guy, defensive guy, is trying to capture our outside hand. So we just circle it back around and we just pommel it back around to the far pec, to the far bicep, whenever we can get. If they're trying to attack your outside hand, we just circle it back around and put the hand on the outside. All right. We don't try to fight it. If they want to knock our hand down, we just circle it back around. Okay. Here's a good look. Let's watch 64 rookie. Okay. Training camp 2019. We're doing the inside under, nice low under punch. I call it slap the fat. I say slap the fat of the defensive guy. So we're powering in and we're slapping the fat of the defensive guy, low inside hand. Low inside hand. You can see I'm over here with the left tackle, and he's stabbing that outside breastplate. I think he should be lower. Right? I'm right there. Hey, low inside hand. It looks kind of funny, but that's what we're doing. Okay. Next phase is we do an outside hand punch. I probably screwed up the cadence here. That's why they're looking at me. But we do an outside hand punch feet. They go punch with their outside hand, and then they go trap and replace with their inside. So if you get that inside hand high, just replace it back underneath and get it to a power. So it's an outside hand punch, inside trap, and replace. Okay. And then the last one we do here is the swipe punch. So we get a lot of one arm, long arm in the CFL. We're getting a lot of it in practice. We got 2 really long arm DNs in practice, and we try to make sure they don't land it on our chest. So this is a right tackle, feet, kick at your angle. When you see that hand, when you see that arm, you take your inside hand and you swipe it down, and then you strike with your outside. And so that's what we're doing here, the swipe punch. Okay, let's take a look. Here's a left tackle with an outside strike and then an inside lift. And then the right tackle doing a great job of getting his feet back because he's in a bad position. He gets his feet back into a position of power. The right tackle. Here's the left tackle. I think he leans too much though. So yes, I don't like the left tackle leaning or lunging. But look at where that left hand lands right there. The left hand lands just above the 9. And look at where the left tackle's right hand is. Bang. You see it right there? He's got the outside hand on, and right there is the left tackle's inside hand ready for the counter move for the defensive guy. Okay, here's a different right tackle, Manasseh Faketi, 2017 clip, I believe. Okay, we've been very lucky at Winnipeg. We've had the same tackles, and they've played a lot of games for us. This is one of the games that's different, so different guy doing it. But here's a good angle set by the right tackle. And watch the replace and the hop into the arch power position. Really good. Watch it take his right hand, drop it, bang, right on the chest, one little hop, and the block's over. Okay, left tackle lunges. Left tackle throws himself, gets in a bad position, swivels. Quarterback has to move. Pressure on the left tackle because he's lunging, he's extending, he's not lifting his hands, he's shooting it low to high, or he's shooting it high to low, and that gets him in trouble. But I think you get the point of what we're trying to do. Okay, here's the same right tackle I just showed you, Manasseh. He's going to outside strike to the far breastplate, far number against a really good D lineman. Okay, last 2019 he was the D lineman of the league. Luckily he was on our team at that point. But watch this outside hand strike and grab. That guy's trying to clear his hand, and Manasseh's got him locked up right there. And then he just replaces. Now I wish he would just keep his feet calm and stay in his normal demeanor and not cross his feet over, because that's when he gets beat. Then our guard runs into the quarterback, so there's not a lot of good stuff going on here other than the right tackle's outside strike to the far breastplate. Okay, here's a different left tackle in a practice clip. Watch this, what we call the clog. Scotty Peters, I think I first learned that at the Cool Clinic. There's a great left hand strike, and watch him dump that elbow down, lock it down, position of power. The left tackle's right hand is not even on the block right here. Great position of power because of the clog and because of the outside hand strike. Okay, I want to get to some other drills here so you'll see a lot of inside hand as we go. Okay, 2-bag jam. I saw this the other night, Bobby Johnson. I thought it was awesome. All right, I learned this from Coach Boudreau. You'll see Coach Boudreau coming up in some of my drills. All right, so we're doing the same thing. Here's the left tackle. He's working his power, his kick, his power, his kick, and then we're working a bull rush finish. Okay, and early in training camp, I'm probably telling them 2-hand punch, 1-hand punch. As the season goes on, they're doing it on their own. So like 66, he doesn't get far enough in here on his power. He's got to go one more power in there to cover that guy up. But he's going independent hands. Here he's going two-hand lift. All right. Here he's going two-hand lift, and we two-hand lift the bull. Here's our right tackle doing it. Watch his hands. So here's his kick angle, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's his power, 1, 2, 3. So we're working different hands. There's a two-hand lift. There's a two-hand lift, but we're working different hands. Now, the next thing we do with this is when the tackles get towards the end, I'm going to say throw it. So when a tackle goes in and he's getting the ET game, he's got to throw that D end in. So as this block goes, when the tackle goes to the inside, okay, I think it's the next one, I'm going to say throw it. You see it right now, I say throw it. So he's trying to act like he's throwing the D end down to the guard, and then he's popping around for the looper right there and finishes with the bull rush. So we do this 2-bag drill. We use kick power angles. We work different hand combinations, okay? And then we work a little bit of a twist pickup there. And then here's the right tackle doing it, okay? Different hands. Here's just a one outside hand strike, okay? Again, at this point in the season, they're probably mixing it up. Now, he's coming to the inside in his power, and I'm saying, hey, throw the D end. So he's overemphasizing trying to throw the D end on an ET twist. Of course, I don't like him getting off balance, but you get the point of the drill is he's trying to throw the guy down and then collect the looper. Okay, so just a couple clips of that. Here's it in a game situation. Okay, here's it in a game situation. Here's the left tackle and left guard working that 2-bag jam drill. Right, you can really see it from the left guard. He's trying to throw the 3 out, but the left tackle kick, bang, back to the power, and we're working that drill right there. Okay, we're working that drill right there. Right tackle probably sets too far on this one, or, you can see his hands are bad. He's in a bad position. Okay, so some good, some bad. Not always perfect. Okay, here's the right tackle and the right guard working that 2-bag jam. Watch the right tackle. He sets at his angle, kick angle. All right, bang, here comes the twist. We power back to the inside. We push the guard. The guard's doing the same thing. He works flat kick angle, throws the 3 out, bang, back to the inside. Okay, what we try to do with the 2-bag jam and a lot of our drills, we're trying to mimic movement patterns that we see happen on tape. And then I love this clip. Now, this kid, 17, is down with the Arizona Cardinals right there. Huge reason we led the league in rushing a couple years. But these defensive guys, they know that he's a runner, so they're taking their shots on him. Watch all of our guys. They don't like that now. They're going to go protect their dudes. Okay, you try to hit our quarterback, and you're going to know we're around. All right, so even the running back, 27, he's trying to get his little butt involved. Okay, our other guys, they're going to go get involved, and they're going to protect the quarterback. And then here's number 10, defensive player with a flop. All right, but we're going to protect our quarterback. We're going to play with effort. We're going to make sure that they know we're around. Okay. All right. This is one of my favorite drills. Here's how it started. This is the original drill. Okay. I call it 2-board kick because you see a board right here. You see a board right here. It's one of those instant correction drills. All right. So this is the first of it. So you can see that's why everybody's kind of standing around. We're trying to intro the drill. So we're working a thumb lift. We're working the lift of the hands. You can see right there. You see the left tackle stop. He stops because he feels his back foot on the board. He knows his kick angle is not where it's supposed to be or not where I want it to be. All right. Our guards come up and they set even flatter. They set towards the front board. And then there's Coach Boudreau. There's Coach Boudreau. Talk about being nervous, gentlemen. 2017, I took over for Coach Wiley, so I got big enough shoes to fill. And then they bring in Coach Paul Boudreau as my guest coach. So he's sitting in meetings, taking notes on stuff that I'm saying. Man, I tell you what, it was a great experience for me, but I was nervous the first couple days in training camp until I got my feet wet. All right. So original drill, bang, 2-board kick, you get the point. Instant correction. He comes back, tries it again. We try to reset our kick angle and get the angle we're looking for. And we're kind of lifting the hands, and then we're doing some independent hand stuff right there. Okay. Again, instant correction. Watch the left tackle, 66. You see it? Watch his kick. He feels himself on that board. He feels himself on that board. So he's like, ooh, Marty, you got this thing flat today. That's probably more of a guard set. But I'm trying to overemphasize what they're doing. Again, he's on the board. He's on the board. So he goes back and starts again. All right. So it's instant correction for him. And then they do something at the end. All right. Now I want to get to right here. All right. We also do counters on this. So this happens to be the guard, but you'll see Stanley come up in a minute. But there's a power back to the kick trying to stay square so they don't swivel. Okay. Hopefully this showed up for you. But now you're going to see 66 with the counter movement drill. He's going to go power back to the kick, and you're going to see a great inside fat slap from him with the inside underneath. So watch his inside hand as he powers in. Powers in, bang. You see that tight little circle right there? Slap the fat, low hand, back to the outside. Really good. All right, med balls. Okay, so you've seen this. We're working a two-hand lift against a bull rush. We're working just how to carry ourselves with posture, balance, all those things. Okay, now we go bull rush late in the clip. So, hey, great coaching point. Get yourself out of your left tackle's way. I about hurt our left tackle here and probably got run out of coaching forever if I would have done that. So, watch what you're doing. But we're working that kick angle. Okay, and then they're taking on a bull rush, and we're working the hop at the end. All right, we're working the hop at the end. So then we have the bags, somebody else working the hop once they get to the end of the board. All right, I'm just making sure he's all right there. Okay, about got run out of Canada. All right, so here's the next guy. Okay, the guards are doing it. Okay, you get the point. They should be flatter. Okay, we work the same drill we did earlier. There's the bull rush. We lift the hands, and then we snatch him down. Lift the hands, snatch him down. Do not allow a defensive lineman to lean on you. Do not allow a defensive lineman to lean on you. If he can't stand on his own, put him on the ground. Okay? Next progression, outside leg, outside hand. I really like what 51's doing here, right tackle. Okay, his hands are in a good position. I think his inside hand should be low. He's got his hands mixed up, so his hands are off here. His hands are off, should be the inside one, should be low. But as he takes his outside kick, he's ready to throw his outside leg. What I tell this guy all the time, and one of my mantras for him, is give me one more flat kick. Give me one more flat kick. And what it does is they're punching off their inside leg as that foot steps, but it also closes their hip and shoulder on contact so they're not being a turnstile. Okay, so I really like what he's doing here, other than he's got to just switch his hands, as I said. But bang, there's just an outside hand target to the outside hand breastplate. Okay, so now we go outside inside. We're working at the left tackle here. Okay, we're looking at 66. Okay, looking at 66. He's moving his hands down the board. He goes outside, bang, and then with the inside. Outside, then with the inside. All right. Let's watch 69. Let's watch 69. Now we're doing the pommel. Okay, we're doing the pommel. So this is pretty slow. And again, I tell him, I don't care. I don't care how fast. It's early in training camp. This guy tries to attack his outside hand. Watch what he does. He drops his outside hand. He circles it back around, and he sticks the guy on the outside breastplate, and he sticks the guy on the outside bicep. All right, this is a good drill. Once the training camp's over for us, we don't get pads in the CFL. Right? We don't get pads in the CFL. That's just the way it is. So this is a good non-contact drill. They don't have to beat each other up. We're working kick angles. Maybe we're doing this, and we spend maybe 5 minutes doing spots, this drill, and then we go to one-on-one pass rush against our D-line. All right, so there's the pommel drill. I think you got one more look at it here with a bag. Okay, so we'll watch Daryl up here. He's a right tackle. He's kicking it to his right. I have him hold this bag on their outside. And we're just trying to mimic that. They're trying to capture your outside hand. And you see the right tackle's right hand. Watch him drop it around. Bang. Sticks it back on his chest. And at that point, the block should be over. All right. So one more look at it here. Pommel drill. Bang. To the outside. Okay. Now, I don't like that he drops his foot once he left the board. That's where I would say, hey, give me one more kick. But it's a never-ending process to try to get the technique where you want. It's a never-ending process to try to get the technique where you want. Okay, tackles get speed rushers up the field. Now we go shoulder target. We go stack hands punch. So we get two board to the kick to the end of the board. 61 here is going to give the right tackle a rip move. He's going to run up the field. And so now we go stack hands punch on the shoulder, on the bicep, whatever we can get. Sometimes that backhand goes on the back of the number, and we try to run the guy up the field and run him by the quarterback. All right. Again, I'm going to get to some tape here, so I'm going pretty quick. Okay. And then last but not least, we do a lot of these ones where we do two board kick and we go swipe, strike. So they swipe their inside hand, left tackle, swipe, strike. So they're trying to get the long arm. Here's a look at 51 on the right, getting a long arm. Swipe the inside, punch the outside. So we do a lot of these, and we do them even without bags, right? So if you don't have the bags, we just do them with our hands. Swipe, strike, training camp. Okay. Here we go. Let's look at the right tackle. This is Patty Neufeld. He started 4 different spots for us in the last 4 years. Here he's playing some tackle. He started some games at tackle for us. Okay. I think it's a pommel. Watch his right hand. He takes his right hand and drops it, circles it around, and then he stack hands punch, and he tries to run the guy past on the rip move. Okay. Does he drop his right foot a little bit too far? Is he a little bit too open? Yeah, maybe. All right. But for a guard to have to jump out at tackle, he's going to underset his spot a little bit because he wants the guy to rush up the field. He pommels his hand around so it doesn't get captured. And then he stack hands punch and he runs him up the field. All right. Very fortunate. I have a lot of good players to coach. All right. Patty, Stanley, Yosh, and then those inside guys. Okay. I'm very fortunate that they're willing to jump around and use these techniques. I'm going to say this. We see and we're able to practice more independent hands in practice because we don't have pads on. So we don't get a lot of bull rushes in practice. So it allows us to work on these independent hands. In games, we probably lift our hands more because we get more bull rushes. But here's a left tackle with a great outside punch. Look where he sticks that thing. All right, nice and quick. Bang, sticks that outside hand, and then he's got his inside hand low, running the guy by the quarterback. Love it. Great rep by the left tackle. Okay, here's the right tackle. Okay. Hand might be a little bit early, kind of throws his butt back when he punches, but there's the outside right hand, and then look at where the left hand is. Better than it was earlier on that game. Now, I wish he wasn't on his front heel. I don't like him being on his front heel, but he resets his feet and gets back into a power position. Okay, here he is again. A little bit of a lean, but now he catches the spin. With his inside hand. We like to do this against guys that want to spin. All right, guys that are real good spinners, we'll give them that outside hand, and we'll catch them with the inside hand. Okay, Coach Wiley, here's your guy. All right, here's your guy. This is Ty Rogers. What he's doing is he's going outside hand strike, maybe on the face mask, so he's got to repunch it, but look at where his inside hand's going. He's grabbing the bicep because he feels he's in control. Guys, I didn't teach him to grab the bicep. He did it on his own, and I learned from him. I went over to him after this, and I was like, hey, what are you doing here? He said, I feel like I got a lot of control when I grabbed that bicep. So I learned from our players. Okay, Okay, so I think this is a real good job going outside, inside, grabbing that bicep and having control. Okay, here's the left tackle again. Really good hands. You can tell why he's been the offensive lineman of the league for a couple years. But he goes outside, inside, and then watch him with the trap. Left hand, right hand. Watch his right hand. See him swipe right there? That's the swipe strike drill we do. Get the hand off your chest. Bang. And then he hops. Okay, here's even a better one. Same guy, left tackle. This is a rookie defensive end that came from Tennessee, went down to the NFL last year. Okay, again, his hand may have hit the face mask, so we got to replace it. Sometimes it slides into the neck. We got to replace it. All right, but he goes outside hand, inside hand. Now he's leaning on us. He's got his hand on our chest. We don't panic. We just trap him down and get the hand off. Do not allow the defensive guys to lean on you and hold them up. Okay, here's the right tackle with the swipe trap during the game. Drops his outside foot. Yep, I get it. Drops his outside foot too much, but watch the right tackle's left hand. He gets his hand, he swipes it down, gives him a little bump. 96 is on the ground. Swipe trap coming off the two-board kick. All right, here's a late trap by the left tackle. Okay, late trap by the left tackle. Here he going both hands, but 93's got his hands out. He's out of control. Okay, hands out. He's out of control. He initially struck him, bang, with his left hand. Left hand high, right hand low. 1-2. The guy gives us his hand, and we trap him down. Again, a little soft on the right there. Confirm that up. Okay. Left tackle with another trap. left tackle with another trap. Good D lineman in our league. Everybody in the league knows who that guy is. Okay. He gives us his hand. We take our outside, we stick it on him. Watch the left tackle's right hand. See him trap that thing down. They get their hand on your chest. You don't have to panic. You just have to get it off. If it's high, I showed you earlier, the right tackle just lifted it off. If it's low and they're leaning on you, bang, trap it down. Now, again, right guard, we could do better in this picture, right? So again, you see some good, you see some bad. There's Patty Neufeld playing his right guard spot. Again, he started 4 different spots for us, okay? I got a great crew of guys that they love to play football. They're tough physical guys. They love to figure it out. All right. They work hard. So we're very fortunate that we have these guys in Winnipeg, but they also buy in. Okay. So here's both tackles getting speed rushes. 11 and 9 want to jet up the field. So we two-board kick. Eventually, you got to start to open up a little bit. You got to start to turn and face them. You got to be square to the defender. Okay, you start square to the line of scrimmage. At some point, you get square to your defender. Does the right tackle open his leg a little bit too much? Probably. But they both go stack hands punch, shoulder target, shoulder point, and a 7-step drop. The quarterback's at 9 yards, and we're rushing him up the field. He hits 9. He starts to jump up. Right? His center falls, so the guard falls on his butt. All right, stuff happens. Double negative. Embarrassing the unit. Pay your fine. Laugh at yourself. Move on. Okay, but both tackles rush the guy up the field with the stack hands punch. You can see the left tackle's hand is just on the back. Here's the right tackle. My fault. Sorry. Okay. Here's the left tackle. You see where his hand is, right in the back. Okay. We're going to rush him up the field. And then we do work a counter drill as well. We get to the quarterback depth. We do work a counter drill with the tackles where they're only going to rush as deep as the quarterback. And then you got to be ready for the counter movement. So we do that. All right. We do that as well. I think this is a great look at the pommel. Watch the left tackle. This is Darryl. Watch his left hand. Watch his left hand. See him circle it around. He hits our hand. There's a double hand swipe. We don't fight it. He tries to swipe your hand. Just circle it back around. Okay? No need to panic. Circle it back around. Put your hand on his chest. Really good. Really good. Yep, really good. Okay? Another one. This is Yosh. Right tackle. Okay? He wants to double hand swipe. We're late with our hands. We just pommel him around. Shoulder target, run him by the quarterback. Shoulder target, run him by the quarterback. Okay, really good. And then, okay. Same player, this guy's going to try to swipe our hands. He's going to try to swipe us. I really don't know what kind of move that is from the deep lineman. Actually, it's kind of a swipe air, but we're just late with our hands. We're under control. And we just lift our hands and get them back on the chest. Okay, right guard didn't do as good as I would have liked here. Okay, you got to do a better job against the spin. All right, that's the guy that Coach Wiley made famous right there with his little stretching. I don't even know what you would call it, diatribe with his little stretching essay. That's the guy he was talking to. Right? That's the guy he was talking to. Wiley made him famous. Okay, all right. I put this in on there. I put this in here for Coach Mudd. This is a number of years ago. I wish I could tell you guys that I taught this, but the left tackle just did it on his own. He punches the guy, he spins around, and it works out. So that's an honor of Coach Mudd right there. All right, fellas, last but not least, I think I'm out of time. Okay. I've used up my words for the day, if nothing else. All right. Hey, small college, high school coaches, somebody that wants to move up in the profession. I spent 17 years at Division II, Division III NAIA schools. Okay, just keep working, keep learning, and being persistent. Keep networking. Keep finding your own style, and when the time is right, it'll happen for you. All right. So just keep working and just keep plugging. Hard work and effort will get you where you want to go. All right. You never know who you're going to meet or when somebody helps you. I asked the other O-line coaches to give back to each other. Man, I listened to Coach Hand last night and it was awesome. He's fired up and he really is true. That's just the personality is funny story is 2007. I was at school in Northeast Missouri and we drove down to Tulsa to watch him practice, right? I think Coach Hand said he had to go today. So anybody who knows Coach Hand, tell him I said thank you and this story. But we drove down and watched Tulsa practice, and so we're there for a couple days. And the first day he's busy. Second day he says, "Okay, I got a whole bunch of time for you. Let's watch some tape." Well, I was a pretty young and green coach, so I'm sure I was asking him all kinds of stupid questions, but he was really good. He helped me out, answering all my questions. And then finally, he's like, "You know what? I'm hungry. We got practice. Let's go get something to eat before we get to practice." I said, "Okay, yep." So we went over to this barbecue restaurant close to the campus there in Tulsa. And again, I'm just peppering him with questions. I got this whole list. I got things I'm asking him, and he's answering. And he gets up in the middle of our lunch in a packed, crowded restaurant, and he gets into a 3-point stance and is showing me drills with a chair in the middle of this restaurant in Tulsa. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It was fantastic. You never know when one thing that you do, somebody that you meet, something that you say to a young coach is going to stick with him. And I appreciate Coach Hand to this day. I don't think he knows who I am, but he was awesome with his time. And to see a grown man get into a stance in a barbecue restaurant, helping another coach out, I think that's what the O-line coaching fraternity is, and I appreciate it. Youth coaches, high school coaches, volunteer coaches, I hope you do it the right way, but I thank you. Right, you're probably underpaid, underrespected. I appreciate anybody that works with the youth of our countries, North America, Canada, United States, whatever it is. We need more positive role models, and we need more people that are doing it right. So those of you that shape the minds of our countries, I really appreciate it. Those of you that work with the youth, you really have a chance to impact them. And then last but not least, everybody, very wise man, right? And the part in red here, I kind of live by this stuff, is the virtues are formed in man by his doing. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but it's a habit. And that's the way the O-line live their life. I believe that that's the way it should be. You don't just do things right once in a while. You do it right all the time. And so I wanted to leave you with that. Is that's a mantra that I try to remember and try to get our guys to live by. I really appreciate everybody having me today and listening today. I hope that you were able to get something out of it. But I really enjoyed my time. It's a humbling and honoring experience, as I said. Thanks, Coach Wiley, for having me and for teaching me all those things. And with that, I'll open it up to some questions, and hopefully I can answer some for you guys. So thanks again for your time.
All right, Jacob, you on here? Jacob?
Okay. Hi, Coach. Very nice presentation. Really enjoyed it. I was able to have one of your players here in Poland, Tiadrik Hansen, the defensive end. So I'm pretty familiar with your game there in Canada. My question is, what would you teach your players when the defensive end is really good at dipping his shoulder, not showing his chest and giving really a small surface to punch?
Yeah. First of all, if you see T again, tell him I said hi. I miss him. It's been a long time. And that young man, he grew tremendously from the time that we had him until he hit that play in the Grey Cup. I'll never forget that either. But what we try to do is if they're a really good dip and rip team, we try to make sure we set to the inside of our spot, and we try to force them to run the hoop up past the quarterback. So we're going to set the inside of our spot, and we're going to be really tight with our hands. I called it a stack hands punch before. So instead of punching this way, we're going to try to put our hands basically on top of each other, because it allows us to hit a tighter surface. And then as they throw the dip, we're going to try to hit that shoulder and stack hands punch. And at that point, you almost have to punch down, and you punch down on the tip of that shoulder. And a lot of times you can just push them up the field, or you can even bury that shoulder into the ground. So that's what we would try to do, is underset the spot, make them run up the field. And then as they dip that shoulder, hit right that shoulder point and try to collapse it that way.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, you bet.
Joe, you're up next.
Hey, Coach, good stuff this morning.
Appreciate it.
I was wondering if you teach the flashing of the outside hand, pulling it back, and then going to the inside hand.
You know what? That's a great question. I had some of those in the cut up, but I just didn't have enough time to get to them all. I think it's a good little changeup. Our right tackle likes it more than our left tackle does. I would say this is when they flash, I always just make sure that they don't drop their outside leg, right? I've seen a lot of guys, so if I'm a right tackle, I kick to the outside and I go to flash my hand. A lot of times when they flash their hand, they drop their outside leg and it turns their shoulders, right? So you can't do that, in my opinion. But I think it is a good mix up. I think it's a really good mix up against guys that like to spin or guys that try to collapse your outside hand. You try to punch your outside hand and they try to swat you. I think the flash can be really good to get them to show their move. So I do like it. I let them use it as a changeup. I don't think it can be an every time deal, though. I think it's, like I said, I think it is a mix up, but I do like it. We do use it as long as they're able to keep their hips square.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Jacob, your question's next.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
I got you, buddy.
Awesome. So when you're trapping them and you're able to strike the hand and they're not able to fall to the ground, where do you teach to have their hands on them so that you're able to finish the block and get them there?
So if we try to trap down one hand, two hand, and they don't fall, it just turns back into that double under lift, so to speak, or the thumb lift that I mentioned earlier. And so once your hands go low, one hand, two hand, now your hands are back down by your belt buckle or wherever they may be. Just lift them back up and try to get to that arch strong back position.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, and then I'm probably going to butcher this name. Smoogie Grace? I think you're on mute. All right, I'm going to just read his question.
Yeah,
What
I
is
can't hear him, so.
Yeah, I'm just going to read his question from the chat. What is the advantage of using the outside foot when it comes to the swoop drill? What could be the coaching tips, techniques most effective to use during teaching pass protection to these tackles?
The swoop drill. Lauren, can you help me out? What's the swoop drill?
Coach, can you write in the chat a little bit more on describing your question? We can't get him.
You're talking about the outside leg. When I say one more kick, I try to get, if I'm a right tackle again and we're kicking out, I try to go one more kick as we make contact with the hand or we punch. I give them one more kick at that flat angle to try to keep their hips square. And so if that's what you're saying, that's the outside leg. To me, it's that mantra of one more kick with a square hip, square shoulder, so I don't open myself up. And that's what I think I talked about that at one point, but it's really just to make sure that we don't turn ourselves open like a turnstile.
Gotcha. Chris, your question's up next.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate it. But you pretty much answered it with the first question. But we have a lot of kids that use the speed rush and drop that shoulder way down. You said the double hand punch. Are there any other methods or skills that you teach to kind of handle that?
You know, I used to try to teach like a far pec pommel to the front of their self, and then I used to take the backhand and try to hit the back of the number and spin them around. But DNs, I think, are just gotten so good that we could never get our outside hand down that low. So I really don't teach anything else other than can you mix up the spot? Can you change it up so they're not always getting the same target? Otherwise, we just try to inside set them a little bit and stack the hands.
Thanks, Coach.
If you have another way, though, let me know. All right. So if you find another way, send it to me, would you please?
We'll keep working on it.
All right. Thank you.
And then the last question will be from Gideon.
Hey, Coach, great stuff. Really good presentation.
Thank you.
Wondering how you handle the pirate stunt. So, with three spiking A, end spiking B, and then a backer looping.
We're on the man side.
Yeah.
So if we're on the man side, you should get, in theory, or what we see is if we're going to get a pirate, usually the 3 and the 5 are a little tighter, all right, and the backer's a little wider. So first things, right, we're noticing all that stuff. Coach Wiley talks about, hey, what can the defense do to me in their present configuration, right? And he's probably talking about it right now if you haven't heard it. So we're seeing all that stuff, first of all. So we have an idea that may be coming, or they almost always show it on tape. So we're noticing that. But if they're a tight 3 and a tight 5, we're just taking a small kick with our outside foot, first of all, seeing what happens, right? So that's a situation that, hey, make sure we don't overkick this. Make sure you don't put yourself in a unpowerful position. So just take your small kick and see what happens. The wider the linebacker gets, the more likely somebody's crossing your face. So it's almost a small kick set in place and see what happens. If you set in place and they stay wide, well, then you just continue on your kick angle, right? If you set in place and they cross your face, now you're in a powerful position and they're running right down the middle of you again, which is what we want.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Coach, that was an awesome presentation. Thank you. You did
Thank
a
you.
great job. Brought some
Appreciate it.
great
Appreciate
stuff
it.
to the table.
So that's it. We're good.
Yep, everyone's good. Thank you
Awesome.
again, Coach.
Hey, good luck to you at Ohio, right? Like I said, I mean, if I can help you, man, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. So good luck to you, okay?
For sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.